In this episode, I'm going to demonstrate the use of the 3-point self-equalizing anchor on the raft. This is, to me, a skill everybody should know how to do, because when somebody wants to attach a rope to a raft, we want to attach to at least 2 D-rings, and ideally 1, 2, 3. A 3-point anchor really is the gold standard for attaching webbing to a raft for some sort of system. And to do this, you're going to need at least 30 feet of webbing. It takes a lot of webbing to do this. You'll see my D-rings are pretty closely spaced. If your D-rings are further apart, it's going to take even more webbing. So to me, 30 feet is a great length. If you don't have 30-foot webbing in your safety kit, you really should have it. You should get some. Otherwise, you just really can't do a 3-point anchor. And anytime I'm doing a gear boat, something heavy with heavy pulling, I really want that 3-point anchor. So it's pretty easy to do. It's pretty straightforward. It's not that different than a 2-point anchor, but it's good to practice it and have in your head. All you really do is take the webbing and you pull it through the 3 D-rings. 1, 2, 3. And sometimes the D-ring has a cam strap on it, which makes it a little bit harder to do, but you just take your time and you pull it through. And then you want to pull this webbing through quite a bit. You don't want the knot at the end, so I don't pull the webbing all the way through, and I tie a water knot right here. Now, water knot is a knot that's good to practice. This is not a knot you want to do when your hands are cold or people are watching you and trying to remember how to do it. You want to have this be second nature. It's very hard to tie when you're nervous and people are watching and your hands are cold. So that gives you a loop. That gives you a nice triangle here, if you can see how that triangle works. And like the 2-point anchor, it's pretty similar. You take this webbing here and you pull it up, and you take this webbing here and you pull it up. And really that's it. Then you got to kind of bring it all together. I'm being very thoughtful that my knot is not around here. I want my knot right here. And I really want to angle less than 60. And this looks like less than 60 to me, so this is good. This is why 30 feet of webbing is so important. If I had less webbing, it would be lower and it would be like 60, 90 degrees, which is not ideal. Or if the D-rings are further apart, it would also make this angle worse. I think this amount of webbing would allow 1 D-ring, 2 D-rings to be further away and still work. So once you have the 3, you brought them all together. You don't need to do the twist like you do in the 2-point anchor. The 3-point anchor works without the twist. You just attach the carabiner, and this is where the rope goes to pull on. And it's really nice because you can pull from different angles and it continues to distribute the load. So that works really well. It's a nice system. I've also used this before on a frame. And a lot of people ask me about, should I attach should I pull on the frame? And I really have had bad experience with that. I have done it, but I haven't had great experience with it. So let's see, let's pull the system through real quick. I'm gonna pull this one off right here. And the problem with pulling on the frame, like with the raft, is it ends up pulling the frame and not the raft. And there's a lot of room for the frame to move, surprising amount. And what happens is the frame readjusts and the raft doesn't move. And these cam straps, especially if they're older, can break. And if you pull the frame and your cam straps break, your frame comes off. And so what I will do sometimes is do 2 D-rings and have the 3rd point be the frame. I think that's a smart thing to do. So same thing, I make that loop. I tie my water knot, and you'll notice I'm pretty practiced with the water knot, so I probably won't mess this up. I am on camera, which makes me a little bit more nervous. But again, having your water knot be very practiced and dialed and ready to go is super important, because again, almost every time people are watching and you're nervous. And the same thing here, you pull this through. Oh, see my knot? My knot's gonna be in the way. So now I have to readjust a little bit. First thing I wanna do is get that knot out of the way. There we go. Pull this up and then pull this up. And it's gonna be a little funky, but it still works. And I think this is a great system. I've had great luck with 2 D-rings and the frame is the 3rd. It's distributing the load between all 3 points. And again, I can move this around and try different angles. So that's it for 3-point self-equalizing anchors. Again, I feel like this really is the gold standard. This is something we should all know how to do, be practiced at it. And I just did it outside the boat. When you're tying it, you're usually inside the boat. So practice tying this from inside the boat, I think, is really important. Also, having 30 feet of webbing in your safety kit to pull this off is super important. So if you have any thoughts, as always, put them in the comments section below. That's it for this episode. See you next time.